What's going on, everybody? I'm Scav19 and welcome back to another Terraria video. Today we're doing bows only on Infernum, and as you can tell, I'm voicing this one over. I did it a long time ago and I just wanted to try to do it again because last time I was like super awkward and it was like not the greatest thing. So let's just get right into the video. We start off by doing some lovely deforestation as well as clearing out some space for it, and then we start building the absolute beautiful house. I mean, look at that workbench, the chests. Oh my gosh. We travel to the right side and find a living wood tree, so we go down, stumble across a house, and then actually get a great accessory. We got Hermes boots. Let's go, dude. We explore a little bit more, but find nothing, so we go back to our house, and then we go to the left where we find a cave. And then we go down, get trapped by some slime, so we say, nah, just not worth it. So we just go back up, make ourselves an anvil, forget that I'm not in Infernum difficulty because I always do this, and then mine some stone blocks so we can make ourselves a furnace. Place down our furnace. We make some semblance of silver, iron, and tin bars, and then finish up our house. I mean, look at how beautiful that is. We find our first life crystal, and then we get slimed out by a yellow slime. We go back down again where we die to a cave bat and a skeleton, and then decide maybe we should upgrade our bow, so we make a platinum bow. Then we explore the underground desert so we can get our first armor set, but don't make it too far as we get swarmed and die instantly. I was trying to be a little cheeky here and shoot through the 1x1 hole, but actually fall down and die.
I thought I was fat enough to not be able to fit through that. Okay.
After that blunder, we find a house with a magic conch, and then immediately get blasted. Next, we make the most god-awful NPC housing I think I've ever built in my life. Like, look at how bad this looks. Like, the slopes, oh my gosh, it's horrible. We then get our first traveling merchant, and this man has a DPS meter. So we take that DPS meter and we throw it in our inventory. After that, we find another house in the underground desert where we get an extractinator and a bass statue. We get the rest of our desert fossils so we can get our armor set. You only really need 60 sturdy fossils, but we got 171. Also, check out this awesome painting that I got. Look at how cool and awesome that is. Next up, we make our armor set and put it on, and then we go down and make a elevator in which we find a mushroom biome with a magic mirror and a cloud in a bottle. We find ourselves in a slime rain when we go back up, but we don't kill enough slimes to actually summon King Slime, so we just kind of go back down, die, and decide maybe we should make an instavator that's a little bit safer than our current elevator. While we were going down our new elevator, we find this lab, and I was just ecstatic.
Is this real life? I refuse to believe it. No way. What?
We get this beautiful drill, and this is not the only thing I found.
Not only did we find this in our elevator, but we just found diamonds right under this. And that's why what we needed.
After getting the diamonds we needed, we made this magic storage, which was awful. It was absolutely horrendous. Then we try to sacrifice an angler to the gods so we can get a golden fishing rod, but die. The second time around, we actually get him to die, but then we die twice before actually getting our fishing rod. Next, we get ourselves a gravitation potion, then go up to the sky so we can get fishing and sonar potions. We go to fish for a reaver shark, and I actually get this really easily here. I don't know how. So we just mine for hellstone, make our molten pickaxe and the molten fury, and then set up our arena for our first boss. We drink our buffs that we have and start to fight the desert scourge, which this fight actually was really easy. I mean, it's the first boss that we're fighting, so it's not surprising. But we did so much damage to him with these jester arrows. This is actually insane. Like, look at his health just shredding down. But after a lot of dodging and one scary hit later, we finally take down the desert scourge. Next, we decide to go for a goblin army, so we break this crimson heart, kill a couple goblin scouts, and then finally summon the goblin army, which I start to clear out the area after I summon it, which was stupid, but you know, it is what it is. And we kind of clear this goblin army because of the jester arrows again. We then flatten out the right side of the map a little bit just so I can have my arena on the right side of my house, find ourselves a red shiny balloon, and then go right back to clearing it out again. Once we're pretty much done with that, we put some insta bridges down, go to sleep until it is nighttime so we can challenge the Eye of Cthulhu, summon this dried out gigantic eyeball. We keep firing at him as much as we can, getting him to a second phase at some point, and eventually take him down pretty easily. Feeling super confident after that dub, I decided to take on King Slime next. And I was actually surprised with how easy this fight was. Like, I knew it was easy, but I legitimately had no trouble with it at all. Once we got him to his last phase, we took him down, and that was not the last time we had to kill him because I didn't get a slime out the first time. So we kill him again, and we actually get the slime out this time. Next up, you guys already know what time it is. It's time to clear out another spot for an arena. This time it's Crabulon edition, and we cleared out such a big area for this. I even started putting a box around it because I thought I was going to use it for future arenas, and after wall after wall after wall, we finally finished this thing, and look at how beautiful it is. Spoiler alert, I did not use this thing that much. I think I used it like a couple times. Next up, we built some more NPC housing, and then go and fight Crabulon. Now this fight's just full of a lot of jumping right on top of me, mushrooms getting shot at me and stuff. We took some stupid hits here and there, but other than that, we actually were pretty good, and we ended up taking him down pretty easily here. Next, we start rushing bosses, so we decided to take on the Brain of Cthulhu next, which we did this underground, and normally I don't do it underground, and we actually take a huge L here from this laser. So we decide maybe I should actually do it above ground, and of course we win on the second try. Next, we decide to kill him one more time just so we could get a little bit more money for potions. Then I decided to take down a perforator cyst so we could spawn in the perforators, and this boss is kind of annoying. He spawns like 3 different worms, and I got through the first 2 worms pretty easily, but then the third worm was kind of a struggle, and we ended up dying to him in the end. Thinking that the weapon was my issue, I decided to actually try to kill the giant clam, which I've never done in progression before in this game. So we clear out a little bit of an area, and then we decided to challenge him, and this fight went pretty easily, honestly. I don't know what I was doing the last time I tried to fight this thing, but yeah. I was dodging his attacks pretty well, and we ended up taking him down pretty slowly, but still, we just got the dub. The only problem was this weapon that I got shoots super slow, so we decided to just not even use it. We actually just reforged our Molten Fury instead. We died on the second attempt, and then on the third attempt, we actually finally beat this stupid thing. Then we realized we have another armor set to get, and so we just mined some aerial light here, make the aerospec gear, and then a weapon as well, and challenge Skeletron because I'm trying to get through pre-hard mode as fast as possible, apparently. This dude was trying to shoot these stupid skulls at me. I apparently had a dodge, which I guess was part of the armor set. I didn't really look into it too much. He tried to chase us, and he was just not getting us. We were doing a ton of damage to him here, and we get him into a second phase, which this attack is like the attack of doom and despair because of all the projectiles. But somehow we actually dodge it this time. Normally, I can't dodge to save my life. And after a while, we get him to his third phase, which is actually a lot easier than the second phase for some reason. So after doing a lot of dodging and barely losing any health, it seemed like, we actually take the win here. We explore the dungeon for a short amount of time for some bones so we can make necro armor. And then I actually forget about necro armor, and instead we make an arena for Wall of Flesh, loot a shadow chest and get a Hellwing bow, and we get ourselves a demon minecart that we don't end up actually using, but those are some pretty sick wheels. Then we summon the slime god, which this fight actually went pretty well at first, and then I found out how inaccurate this Hellwing bow actually is on smaller targets, and we die. I bring a second weapon this time for the slime god, but then for some reason he glitches underground, so I actually only had to fight the slime god here, and we take an easy win because of it. Curious about what happened, I decided to spawn him again, see what happens, and it just did it again, so I just guess the slimes just kind of died in the walls or something, I don't know. Then we finally make our necro armor that we forgot about earlier, and get one of the craziest NPC names I've ever seen in my life.
The Gorfus Splunt, the Greater Finkel Jim, the Clothier has a... Did I just say that right too?
Deciding I actually want to progress to hard mode, I throw a voodoo doll in the lava, and then we summon the Wall of Flesh, which I was making fun of this monstrosity for his eyes, and I don't think he appreciated that too much, so then he actually sent them towards us. They started shooting these purple lasers at me, but I was dodging them left and right. And this fight was not close at all. Don't pay attention to my health bar. I definitely didn't make myself one shot a couple times. It was fine, and we take the dub. Then I realized that we forgot to kill Queen Bee, so I go back, make an arena for her, but as I'm shooting, I make a fatal mistake.
Oh, I did it now. Okay. Remember that thing I said about being careful?
But don't worry, guys, it gets worse, because not only do I do that, I spawn another one.
Oh, no. This is like worst case scenario. Should we just take me? Just take me. Oh my god, I spawned 2, bro.
After deciding to die, I spawn her again, and you'd be surprised how much easier it is to actually fight this thing when there's not 2 of them chasing you at once. So after getting her to 50% health and then 5% health, we end up taking the dub pretty easily and finally move on to hard mode. Or will I? Because I actually spawned another Queen Bee as I'm killing her. But you know us, we took the dub again, got her treasure bag, and we actually got the bee's knees on the first try. I decided now is a good time to start farming Souls of Light. We stumble upon a Hallowed Mimic, and he rocks us into next week. I don't know why my brain works like this, but I'm going to take you guys on an adventure to see how my brain works. So first we farm some pixies, then I decide to flatten out this area for later. Then I fight a wyvern who I get only half of the Souls of Light that I need. Then I go down to hell, get a gelatin crystal, start farming for living fire blocks so we could get a new weapon, make the new weapon that I was trying to make, and start farming for Souls of Night right after. We actually do get jump scared while we're fighting this Crimson Mimic.
There's legitimately so much going on. Oh my god, I forgot I had that on. Oh my god, mid-mimic fight, you bastards. What a bad time for that to show. Golly.
Next, we get ourselves a lovely hallowed mimic kill, but we only get a vile shard. Then we decide to go up to the sky where we get jump scared again.
Bro, why is this game out to jump scare me today? No way, I just got Stormweaver jump scaring me there, bro. I was sipping my coffee and I just... oh my god, I jumped, bro. That was diabolical.
We grab our final souls of flight, make our wings, and decide to mine our first hard mode ores. But while we're doing this, we actually find a shimmer. Once we're done, we teleport up and we get the life roots and ores that we needed. We make ourselves a palladium set of armor, throw that thing on, and instead of palladium, we actually make a cobalt pickaxe and an axe. We feel ready for our first mech boss, and we spawn in Skeletron Prime first. In my opinion, this one's the easiest one, and I will die on that hill. I mean, you just take out his arms here. Then he goes into this next phase where he does the same set of attacks at you. It's not really that hard. But we do kind of trap ourselves here and take a couple bad hits, but it doesn't matter in the end as we actually end up taking the dub. We mine for our next hard mode ores, make ourselves that lovely orichalcum set of armor, and decide now is a good time to clear out the arena just a little bit more so it's more vertical. And we spawn in Queen Slime next. Now normally I would appreciate the invitation to be sat on, but not in this situation as we try to avoid her, especially these lasers as well. Those things kind of hurt a lot. She starts spawning in even more lasers and throws these stupid daggers at me, but we dodge it all and take her down pretty easily. We decide to fight Cryogen next, and he just starts shooting at us immediately. We take this lock off of him that was probably restricting him, but he doesn't seem to be too thankful as he tries to dash at us, throw knives at us. It wasn't a good time, but we end up taking him down pretty easily in the end. Next up on our hit list is the Twins, which is one of my least favorite. And the strategy here is we actually take down Spasmatism first, just because he is a much easier final phase. So as you see here, we're kind of aiming for him. We get both eyes down in our next phase relatively at the same time here. Next up is my least favorite attack on the list where they go above me and shoot these things into the ground. I took a lot of damage here, which was unfortunate, but we actually bounced back pretty well in this fight. And next time we actually got this attack, we dodged it. As you can see here, we took down the Red Nazer, and all we had to do is survive the Spasmatism's final phase. This phase pretty much just consists of a lot of straightforward, like, dashing attacks towards you. A couple of these green things that, like, kind of shoot at you, but nothing's really that hard to dodge in this. If you do Red Nazer, that one is impossible. But after a while of dodging and taking a lot of damage on them, we finally beat the Twins. Next up, you guys already know what time it is. We mine for even more hard mode ores as we get our third tier here, make ourselves some shiny titanium armor, and then we make our way to the underground ice biome where we explore this lab and mine for some cryonic ore. After making a new weapon and shield, we decide to take on the destroyer next. Now, if you guys know anything about when I actually fight this dude, I have such a hard time for no reason. I think it's just because he dashes at you and all those like bombs just kind of throws me off. But we get him to a second phase where he starts throwing lasers at us and we dodge right into them. At right about 34% health is when he starts throwing this like bomb and all these super crazy projectiles, but we dodge that somehow. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I almost kind of choked this fight. I mean, I literally got myself to one shot and I shouldn't have even had it that close in the first place. But we take the win anyway. Afterwards, we mine some hallowed ore so we can make some hallowed armor. But as we teleport up, we actually encounter a goblin army, so we take them down really quick and get a shadow flame bow. This ends up being a really good weapon for us as we use it against the aquatic scourge here. Now normally I would say this boss is nothing, but dude, I was on my heels on these attacks. Like I didn't know what the heck was going on. But after a while we get him to go out of the sea, and then we just struggled so hard on this part because we just did no damage to him. This part of the fight could not have taken any longer, and you can kind of tell from like the way I was reacting at the end.
Level. Oh my god. Put him in the grave! Dude, oh my god.
After our continuous fat dubs, we actually make ourselves a molten quiver. And then we fight ourselves some calamitous clone action. This is definitely one of the tougher fights at this point in the game, but we still get her to about 50% health and then fight her brothers next. I'm usually pretty okay at this part of the fight, and I don't think I've ever really died to the brothers, so we end up taking them down. It felt for most of the fight that we were actually going to clear this, but after I get her to about 20% health, I take every hit imaginable, and we actually die. On the next attempt, we get her to her final phase and immediately get hit multiple times. And after getting her to 5% health, we end up actually taking the L again. Don't worry guys, third time's a charm, am I right? Wrong, as she uppercuts us out of existence. But 4th time is the charm, and we actually beat her on this attempt. Next, I start to fashion myself a little Plantera arena, but I make another fatal error, and as I'm trying to clear out this area, I actually hit a Plantera bulb, and I am super underprepared for this fight.
Uh-oh. Oh, I'm a noobsy. Oh, shit. That is so... Oh, God. I was not prepared. I am not prepared.
I'm not gonna lie though, we kind of cleared this fight as we get her to our 2nd phase here, and even getting her to her final phase. And after a long, drawn-out fight, this thing took forever, but we actually win, and I was just in shock.
Yes, dude. Oh my God. That is crazy, dude.
Unfortunately, we didn't get the Blossom Flux, and then we actually make the Blood Orange, which I was gonna use for that fight, but it's okay. Next, we go for some of that beautiful ectoplasm as we suck the souls out of these enemies in the pause. And then we make one of my favorite bows in the game. Then we fight Anahita, and I think you guys know how this fight's gonna go. I mean, this fight's honestly pretty easy, but I think it's just because of all the attempts I've put in to try to get the community, and I just get shafted every time. So, of course, we get her out of her 1st phase here, and she spawns in this big, stupid fish, man. After pouring a lot of damage into the Leviathan, though, we finally take him down, and all that's left is to kill Anahita. Which, of course, we take her down as well, and we take that fat dub. Spoiler alert, we didn't get the community on the 1st or 2nd try, so we thought maybe we could get another weapon and Duke Fisheron, so we tried to take him down. And this fight took a long time because I forgot to get a couple of accessories that would have helped with damage, so we were just dodging for a long time, but we ended up actually taking the win. I don't know how, and I didn't realize how far in progression Duke Fisheron was, because you're actually supposed to kill him after Golem, but I hadn't even killed Golem yet, and I still took the dub here. We got ourselves some brand spanking new wings, and then made a nice little home for the truffles so that we could actually get some Shroomite armor. And then made a hoverboard as well to give us that lovely, lovely set bonus. We didn't get the weapon the 1st time, so we tried to kill Duke Fisheron again, and I actually lost this one. So I went back and I took my rage out on the Anahita and the Leviathan again. But to no avail, we didn't get the community again. This spiraled into me trying to get the community, which I didn't get for another couple times. And this is when I really started to question why my damage was so bad.
I feel like I have to have some sort of accessories I can get, right? Oh, dude. No wonder my damage sucks. I'm an idiot. Oh my God.
I realized that I could get a Ranger Emblem and a Deadshot Brooch, which would bring our damage up plus 30%. So we kill Anahita on this attempt, and then we go and fight the Wall of Flesh to get a Ranger Emblem. And then I remember that we actually have a Shimmer that I could get, so I go to the Shimmer and get my Ranger Emblems. I also realized that I could upgrade my shield again, so I do that real quick, and get ourselves that lovely Deadshot Brooch as well as our Ranger Emblem. In the next fight, we get Adrenaline, and we start doing 10,000 damage to the Leviathan. When our Adrenaline and Rage runs out, we were doing about like 1,500 to 3k damage to him. So these accessories made a huge difference. Too bad I still can't get the community though, because it decided not to drop for so long, guys. But before we got the community, I actually decided to fight Duke Fisheron again, and we actually beat him with our new damage. After beating Duke Fisheron, we take our treasure bag and make the tsunami. We also decide to visit this greasy, dirty boss's stupid lair and take him on so we could finally clear this stupid temple. This fight was honestly really easy. I mean, Golem is just a greasy, disgusting boss, and I put every ounce of my anger into this boss before taking him down. Then it's back to community grinding time, and we still haven't gotten it. Since this isn't really much of a surprise, I'll just skip to when we actually get it, because it's just the same fight over and over again, and I'm not going to put you guys through like all the attempts that I did. We were feeling pretty good after getting the community, so I decided it was time to fight Astromorius. But one thing I accidentally forgot about is that you have to fight him at night and in the astral biome, so he was actually enraged this whole time, and we died pretty easily. I forget that he's a double condition, but you can still spawn him during the daytime, which I feel like is kind of dumb, but we just kind of get rocked. On the next attempt, though, he's not enraged, so we actually take a fat dub. To prepare for my least favorite boss, I have to clear out the Plantera arena just a little bit to make it easier, which causes us to actually fight Plantera again because the bulb was in a spot that I needed to clear. And we take her out pretty easily, but still no Blossom Flux though. I mean, what the heck, game? So after getting the canisters we needed for the Abomination spawner, we decided to summon the Plaguebringer Goliath. Words cannot describe how much I hate this boss fight. I don't know what it is, but I just hate this boss with all my heart. But we start out pretty well, and we get him to his second phase. But that's when things start to go downhill as I just take a dash right to the face and die. On the next attempt, though, we get him all the way down to his final phase, which is good. And we end up dodging his rocket rain, and we end up showing him who's the boss. We didn't get the bow that he drops, though, so instead of fighting him again, we just bought a treasure bag and got it, because I was not going through that again. Also, I'm not really sure if this was intentional, but we shoot a prismatic blaze swing and spawn in Empress of Light. But our first attempt doesn't go well, and she dashes right through us and kills us. It's at this point where I just decide I'm going to fight her anyway, and we get her to her second phase actually, but I died trying to dodge these knives and it just was not a good time. On our third attempt though, we get her down to her final phase, but not before taking every single possible hit in the book. This left us in a really bad position, especially for the moon phase, because I hate this phase so much. It's just so hard to dodge, and like I don't even know how I survived this, honestly. We did take a couple hits, but we took a lot less hits than I thought I was going to, so we still had some health in our reserves, and we ended up taking the win because I'm just like that. Surprise, surprise, we didn't get the weapon we needed, so we bought a couple more treasure bags and got the Eventide. Also, I just want to note that I tried to spawn Ravager down here, but that didn't end up happening because I don't know what it is, but you can't, I'm not sure if you can't spawn them underground or what. So we just used our regular arena up top and fought the Ravager. We get through his first phase with quite a few scratches, and he detaches his head from his own body, so we just decided to take that down first before focusing on him. Take a couple dumb hits as we take the head down, and then decide to start focusing on him. This part goes less than smoothly as I almost actually die here, but somehow we end up winning against him. Since I'm rushing to Moonlord, I decide to take down the cultist next, which is probably one of the easier Infernum fights, honestly. I don't think I've ever really died to this guy like that often. Maybe in the beginning when I first started playing Infernum, but he's honestly like the easiest boss in the game, I would say. But we get him to his final phase and he starts doing this little desperation phase, but all you really have to do is stand in one spot and just not do anything. And just like that, the cultist is down and we're moving on to the pillars. I decided to go after the vortex pillar first, which is actually my least favorite one, but we need the vortex fragments so we could get the next weapon. Unfortunately though, I don't know what surviving a pillar is and get shotgun right to the face. After checking our storage, we had enough fragments to make the Phantasm. Honestly, this weapon was pretty fire and we take down the pillar really easily. We also make a miracle fruit because I forgot to do that earlier. And we challenge the nebula pillar next. But it wouldn't be me trying to beat a pillar without dying first, so we do that and then we finally beat the pillar on the second try. I was about to fight Astrum Deus when I get jump scared by Foxy again.
You mother... Bro, I can't. I want to take... Oh my god, dude. I don't know why I thought it would be a fun and silly idea for me to have this on. I'm sure it's funny for you guys, but not funny for me.
After going through my pain and suffering, we decide to spawn Astrum Deus and take this stupid worm down. He starts with a little dodging phase that we just kind of go through pretty easily, and immediately fires a big ass bomb at our foreheads. Don't worry though, we dodged it because we're just like that. But we were doing pretty good damage to him, so we got him down to his last phase in like a minute or so. But this attack was awful, dude. I felt like I was just slow enough where I was like out of reach, but oh my gosh, it was not fun. After dodging one more spinning laser phase from this dude, we finally take down Astrum Deus. We bask in our victory by mining some newly accessible astral ore, and we make ourselves an astral bow, but it does not compare to the Phantasm. I also realized I could have been using this battle cry accessory, so I turn it on and we get swarmed immediately. Luckily for me though, we took down the pillar pretty easily, but still die right at the end. Last up, we got the solar pillar, where I actually strategized a little bit and left it one shot so that we could just teleport to my little arena and fight Moonlord. One slight problem though, he was invisible because there were walls, and I didn't realize that if you had walls up that you couldn't see him. So throughout most of this fight, I was just kind of panicking and we ended up just dying. Instead of just fighting him above ground like any other normal person would, I decided to revamp the arena. So we put glass instead of stone, and this actually works out pretty well. It looks really cool, but just took me so much time. Like guys, I was pulling out rollers for this, measuring each like space between the platforms. I even revamped the platforms too. It was crazy. I don't know why I put all this effort in. But after making the new and improved Gav Arena, we spawn in Moonlord and die in the first like minute. We challenge him again and actually get all three of his eyes out this time, but end up dying because of this stupid dashing attack. The next attempt went really bad and we end up dying to the top eye again. And then we have the same result with the next one as I just run right into the laser that I'm supposed to be dodging. This happens one more time before we actually get him to 28% health the next time, and then we die. The next attempt is a similar story where we get him to about 17% health and then run right into a projectile. This next one was so close, but I just couldn't hang on for long enough and we die. Also, this is at the point where I could probably have a die counter for like the amount of times that I say that I die, because we just could not do this fight. It was actually so tough, and I'm pretty sure it took us like a lot of attempts to do. It was at least 10 plus attempts. Like, I don't know what I was doing through this fight. I was just hard throwing. But a couple deaths later, we finally take down Moonlord, which means we're in the final stretch of the game. We make ourselves a lovely Luminite quiver for endless Luminite arrows, and then realize that I never got a Daedalus Stormbow from earlier. So we just do that real quick, get it first try, and get the Planetary Annihilation, which I love this weapon just because of the way it looks. Anyway, we get our Unholy Essence so we can make ourselves a Profane Shard and fight the Profane Guardians. While we're setting our waypoint though, Cygnus decides to just show up and taunt us a little bit. We decide that now is a good time to challenge the Profane Guardians. So this first attempt went not very well because I went to switch to my Clockwork Bow and I accidentally just pulled out my Magic Mirror instead. So we just teleport back and immediately challenge them again. So this second attempt didn't go very well because I tried using the Clockwork Bow, which is not one of my favorite weapons, just because of how slow it is. We defeat the Guardian Healer, which is not too bad, but we end up dying immediately on the second phase. The next attempt goes a lot smoother, and we actually have all of our health going into the second phase. And eventually we end up taking down the second Guardian and have to just face the last one, which this last phase went really well, and we end up taking them down without any trouble. And if you know me, you know I'm immediately rushing into that Providence arena. So we go there and honestly start off pretty strong, even though we got hit by one of these fireballs. So, you know, she's trying to pull out all the stops on us, and we actually get Adrenaline at some point, which is crazy to get in this first part because normally I suck at dodging that first part. We get her into the second phase of the fight where you have to start dodging at first. And we get through that pretty easily before she starts attacking us again, and we can actually do damage to her this time. Also, I don't know how I jumped over this fireball, but you know, it just kind of happened, and I'm cool with it. Also, I want to point out that this last spear decided to go into the wall, but I still took damage from it somehow. I guess it just glitched, but we're just gonna move on from that. But after having to deal with this last laser phase here, we do the same fight over again, which honestly isn't that bad. So we get through most of the same fight again, and I decide to do the ballsiest thing and sit under her lasers here. I don't know what I was thinking, but we end up taking the win anyway. And I guess our efforts paid off because we got the bow on the first try. We decided to put it on our new shield that we got from Providence as well. Also, look how cool this Profane die makes you look. I honestly kept it on for the whole game, but I was like, this looks sick, man. Unsurprisingly, I had to mine for progression again, so we mined for some Yellow Bloom ore, make our Tarragon armor, and slap that sucker on. Also, we farmed Moonlord a couple times just so we could get a little bit more money in our pocket. We fight Dragon Folly next, and I won't even waste your guys' time. This was just an easy fight, because we got a couple big bosses coming up next. After putting on our new accessory that we got from Dragon Folly, we kill Ravager one more time so that we could get some Bloodstone, and head back to the dungeon so we could get some Polterplasm. I kind of do make it a little close with spawning Poltergast, but we actually die before that even happens. Which in my mind, I was kind of fine with because I didn't want to fight Poltergast just yet. Instead, we decided to challenge Stormweaver next, and I made this fight a lot closer than it had to be. I barely made it to a second phase and almost actually died during the second phase, but somehow we survive and we actually end up pulling out the win. I didn't get the weapon that he dropped, so we actually had to fight him again. This time I made the fight less scary, and we actually got the weapon that we were trying to get. Using the weapon we got from Stormweaver, we challenged Ceaseless Void next, where it actually took me a little while longer than I thought to get these orbs down. After getting him down though, he goes into his actual fight, and honestly, we did a lot of good damage to Ceaseless Void in this fight, and we were making this go by really fast. I mean, he was already at 66% health before I could even like think. And before we know it, we get him to his next phase where he just starts teleporting and attacking us. But we had that on lock, honestly. And we get him down to his desperation phase before he dies. And I was surprised I actually didn't die here, but I took a lot of hits and like I was just sliding down the wall. But eventually we take the win. Feeling super confident after that fight, I just decided to spawn in Poltergast anyway. And honestly, this bow was not as good against Poltergast for this fight. I think it was because I wasn't hitting him with the arrows. But we decided to go with the Providence weapon because it did a lot more damage than the Stormweaver weapon did. We even got him down to his next phase. And after a lot of skillful dodging by us, we get him to his next phase where he starts to throw this like weird attack at us. But we actually dodge it pretty well. But then don't deal with his dash very well as we take a couple hits there. Honestly, I was kind of panicking here, guys, and I took a couple dumb hits, but we had him down to 7% health, and I was feeling pretty good, mostly. I even got myself down to one shot here and used all my dodges, but eventually we got him down to his desperation phase, and I thought I was dead here. But I'll just show you how I was reacting while this was all going on.
If I actually survive, I am the greatest player of all time. No way. What? My jaw was on the floor. No way did we just... I don't want to hear any fraud allegations anymore after that. Oh my god.
After calling myself the greatest, I felt pretty confident to take down Cygnus, so we just summoned him in. And I had a bit of trouble on this fight because I actually had to aim for once, and I'm not good at doing that. But surprisingly enough, we get him down to his next phase where he spawns 2 of himself, and then we just have to like guess which one is which. But after a while, we get him down to his last phase. And this went surprisingly well, even though I hate that attack where he throws those dimensional slashes at you, like from behind you. And we take the win pretty convincingly. Afterwards, we make our Blood Flare armor, and then we waste all of our money so we could get the Poltergeist weapon that we needed. Next, it was time to clear out our platforms above the desert so we can make a dog arena, which consists of about, I think, 14 or 15 platforms. So after clearing the platforms, we start to place our insta-bridges down and go all the way up to the sky. Then we craft the Cosmic Worm and decide to spawn in this monstrosity. But you know, for not playing this game for a couple months, I actually did surprisingly well, and technically, if you want to count the dodge as a hit, you can. But technically, we didn't take any hits during the first phase. We get ready for a second phase where shit gets real, and we get him to about 37% health before he snatches us up. The next attempt goes somewhat similar, but my fingers decided not to work, and I just don't ram dash through him, so he kills us. On the third attempt, we actually get him to his last phase, so I end up just panicking and dashing right into him. I catch myself at the end of my platforms on the next one, and I kind of mess myself up and I die again. I decided it's time to get some Discord potions so I could teleport away from Dog, and honestly getting these was a game changer as we get to his last phase in my next attempt. But it can't save me from dodging this as I take a hit from his head and then a fireball. On this next attempt, we actually whittle his health down to 6% before he goes into another dashing attack, where I knew if I just avoided this that I actually won the fight. And after teleporting myself out to a good spot, we end up taking down Dog on the 6th attempt.
And that's how you fucking do it, man. That's how you do it. 6 attempts? Nope. 6 attempts, baby.
After taking a massive moral victory here, I start to farm for Dark Sun fragments, made ourselves a lovely new weapon, got ourselves some endothermic energy from the Frost Moon, and then finished up by getting some Nightmare Fuel from the Pumpkin Moon. After getting all this, we make our Godslayer armor and even upgrade everything we need for the next boss. With only 3 more bosses left on the list, we decide to spawn Yaron immediately. And we do pretty well in this fight, actually, getting into his second part in the fight, because the Infernum creators decided he's going to have 2 parts to this fight. The first phase of this fight isn't bad, but then once he starts immediately just dashing at you left and right really hard, it is so hard to dodge him. We end up dying pretty early into his dashing phase. We get him to about 40% health before this fireball nukes us out of existence. This is where things started to go downhill because we died in the first half of this fight, not once, but twice. The next attempt goes pretty well as we get to the second half of the fight at least, but that hope doesn't last long as we die almost immediately. The next attempt, we actually get him to his next phase in the second half of the fight, and everything's looking up pretty decently for a minute, but then we catch this wall of fire and kind of can't get out of the way, and we end up dying to a dash. We get slammed on the next attempt pretty easily. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I struggled really hard on this boss, and we died many times. Like, I don't even know how to express how I felt, but I was just super frustrated. But finally, after a while, we get him down to his last phase. And this one is honestly not as bad as you would think. He just pretty much dashes the whole time, and that's it. So after some amazing dodging, I think I got hit once here. I think the anger just fueled how locked in I was. But after dodging for a while, we finally get him down to 2% health, and we take the win, which I was so happy about.
Oh my god, dude. I was like so about to give up and we just did that. Oh. Ooh-wee. Give me my chicken nuggets, baby. I say that every time, but give me all of them, all 5,000 of them. Just don't look at my other 19 attempts before that, and we'll be good.
And then luckily we have a break between this and the next boss because we have to mine for some more ore. It's auric ore this time, and while I'm mining, this next fight is just gonna be horrible. I hate the XMX so much. It is maybe one of the most confusing boss fights that I have ever done in my life, but I'll speak about that later. After getting the ore, we get our auric Tesla armor and our new boot upgrade. Next up, we have to decode all the schematics that we got from those labs that we were exploring earlier. So we do that, and then we finally get to fight the XMX. And my god, this fight actually hurts my soul. So we actually started off on a pretty good note, but I did not stream or record the first attempt that we had. So that was pretty sad, but the first attempt was literally, we got to the last phase, and then we died. So I was feeling pretty good about this fight up to this point. But we get to the point in this fight where we have to fight the worm, and this one's even faster than Dog, and probably even more annoying than Dog, really. And after a while of dodging, we actually end up dying to him. I feel like this just kind of started a downward spiral of just a lot of deaths, and we didn't even get close for a little bit, which was kind of demoralizing. I'd say the Ares, which is that big ship with all the guns, doing that one first is like super annoying because of these attacks that he does. And honestly, just surviving the first phase where we just have to fight the Ares depends on what attack I get. But we get back to the worm after a couple attempts, and we get hit with this giant bomb and die. And honestly, the worm was giving me a lot of trouble too as I die again. And honestly, I won't show all the attempts, but we did struggle a lot on this boss. We do get close to destroying the worm before he just absolutely takes our head off. But after lots and lots of struggling later, we finally get to killing the worm. So I felt like this had to be the attempt where we won. So we just straight up locked in for the rest of this fight. And eventually we took down the Ares, and we had our adrenaline and rage for the last part of this fight. Now, although it won't seem like the adrenaline and rage matters, getting through this phase of the fight is probably one of the worst parts just because of how much is getting thrown at you. But then we're finally on the final attack where you have to just dodge the twins for the last part of it, and they just keep dashing at you. And honestly, I almost choked this. I won't even lie to you guys. I took a couple hits. You literally can only get hit like 3 times before dying. So I was dodging as best as I can, and we finally won against these guys.
Yes! Oh my god! No way! Bro, I feel like every time I say that I can't beat a boss, I immediately beat it because it's like some weird jinx I have on myself. I should just say it more often, honestly.
Preparing to fight Calamitous, I make a Draydon's Forge so we can make our final weapon. We make the miracle matter that we needed, and then we make our final weapon, the Heavenly Gale. Now, this fight starts out with a worm as well, and normally if you have a good weapon that goes through enemies, it's easy to like kind of hit a bunch of his segments at once and kill him. And I died to this worm a couple times not knowing what to do about the fact that I have to outlast him and I can't. But I decided to bring the Ultima back because I thought it would be good on this, and it actually was really good and took him out really fast. So finally, it's time to actually fight Calamitous, and it starts out pretty rough for us, but we bring it back just a little bit as we get her to our next phase. Next up, we have to dodge this giant shadow figure thingy, and honestly, we do pretty well. And then she just starts throwing all these red projectiles and skulls at us, and I don't know how I dodged all of it, but we were doing well. And even though my biggest concern was how long this fight was going to take, we actually get to our next phase, where we have to fight the brothers again, but a even beefier version than last time. And honestly, we did really well. We had our full health going into Calamitus's next phase, but this attack right here is like the bane of my existence, and I actually take the laser right to the face, which I don't normally do, but I just accidentally dashed. And then when she was shooting arrows at us, we finally fell. The next attempt goes even better, and we actually move on to our next phase where we just have to shoot these birds and kill them, which means we're moving on to the final phase before she throws her desperation attacks at us. And after a lot, and I mean a lot of dodging, we finally get to our desperation attack phase. So we moved on to our desperation attack phase that has 3 different parts to it. And this first part is usually the worst for me, as I just can't dodge the little fireballs at the same time as like avoiding these pillars. But this time around, we actually like didn't take a single hit from this. And I think that's the moment that I knew that I was winning the fight. But after throwing the second part of this, I was getting a little bit worried. But in the end, we finally took down Calamitous, and we got to end this run on such a high note.
Oh, let's fucking go, dude. Dude, I knew the moment I got through that first part, I was like, it's easy. Like, it's just over. And we did. And you know what? I'm just so good. You heard it here. I'm so good. Dude, I can't believe that. You guys have no idea how hard it is to dodge for that long, bro. Oh my god. Well, maybe you have an idea. Holy.
So you guys know the rules with the end game. We fight the boss rush one time. So we start off by going to the abyss and fighting the Eidolon worm with our new end game weapon. I'm not gonna lie, this thing actually shredded the worm. Like, he was dead within like 30 seconds. I was like, what the heck? So we took our boss rush summon and we got the hell out of there. And of course, I'm not gonna show the whole boss rush. I mean, you guys already saw most of the bosses anyway, so I'm gonna take this time just to thank you all for watching the video if you've made it this far. Comment down below what your least favorite Terraria boss is. It could be a base, vanilla boss, or it could be a Calamity boss. And if you enjoy watching me talk and play games and stuff, I actually stream on Twitch, so you should check me out at twitch.tv/exicAv19. Link is in the description below. And then if you want to watch the VODs back, actually, I'm gonna start uploading some of the ones that I had from previous months. Check out my not.scav19 channel. That's where I publish all my Twitch VODs. That is also in the description below. And if you want to stay updated on my videos, click the invite below to my Discord, where I actually have roles for Twitch streams and for YouTube announcements. So just join that if you want to. But yeah, seriously, thank you all for watching. This video took so long to make. So if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And that's all I have for today, and I will see you all in the next video.